Welcome back to the Gentleman's Playbook. I'm your host, Rod Warner, and today I have an amazing high IQ group with me. Stay tuned to the Gentleman's Playbook. Welcome back to the Gentleman's Playbook. I'm your host, Rod Warner, and today I have with me Chris McNite. Welcome, Chris.
What's going on, Rod?
I have Mr. George Lewis. Welcome, George.
Hey, what's up, Rod?
And I have Mr. Derek Fleming. Welcome, Derek.
Appreciate it. That's good.
Chris, what's your occupation?
I manage a small service department for a Metroplex car dealership.
Okay. George, what's your occupation?
So I'm a clinical pharmacist. I get an opportunity to serve our vets over at the VA, and I'm also a residential developer out here in Dallas.
Derek, what's your occupation, brother?
I'm in medical sales. I've been doing it about 15 years, and I'm also part owner of a restaurant.
Okay, cool. Derek, let me start with you. If you had to describe yourself and you couldn't use your ethnicity, because hell, I don't even know what ethnic group you from.
We started early.
Yeah, you look like Samoan.
Look Hawaiian.
Yeah. But if you had to describe yourself and you couldn't use your ethnicity, where you from, your career, you couldn't use any background, even if you're in a fraternity or not, how would you describe yourself?
That's a good question.
Okay.
You know, for me, I think that because of just experiences, I think that I would describe myself as a person that provides a lot of positive energy, a positive flow to people that are close to me in my life.
All right, cool. Chris, if you had to describe yourself to someone, you couldn't use your ethnicity, your career, where you're from, your background, or even your college, how would you describe yourself?
Ooh. I describe myself as a simple man trying hard to live a good, simple life that he can be proud of.
Okay. George, Mr. Lewis, how would you describe yourself, brother?
Oh, man, I probably think the number one word that probably describes me is like thinking. Always like a thinking man, always kind of like strategizing, forming my next plan, trying to figure out like always problem solving for sure. Like always getting down to like what are the issues and like how do I problem solve for it as opposed to being overwhelmed.
Okay, cool. Ladies and gentlemen, this group is kind of my laid back group, but they have a lot to say, and we're going to get into it. So you guys, you read my book, The 7 S's to Getting Into Women. When you guys first heard the title, what were y'all thinking?
Rod out here teaching strategies on how to pimp. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
I did see it as like a strategic playbook.
Yeah.
You know, from step one, date one, all the way through the process, whether it's dating, whether it's future wife,
Yeah.
you know, whatever the end and journey is. That's what I'm like. Rod's gonna lay it out just like he's in the huddle, and here it is. You follow X, Y, and Z. All right, ready, break.
Okay. Chris, what you think?
Oh, the title. Oh, man. No, I was a little bit afraid it was going to be one of the typical, pickup artist community kind of things, like, wear this, say this, do a little negging, get her attention. But it wound up being so much more than that, so much deeper than that, which I knew it would be because it's you. So.
Okay. George, what about you?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna piggyback off what Chris said. It's like knowing that I spent almost 3 years working with you.
Yeah.
I knew that the title was like very intriguing, and it kind of had me think. I was like, I know Rod not writing a pickup artist book. I know he's not going down that path.
Yeah.
So it's like he's gonna drop something in here, and I want to know what is it? What is that? What's the knowledge and information he's putting in here?
So were you guys were y'all shocked to realize it wasn't that what you had assumed?
Yeah, like they said, man. I mean, I know how deep you are. You know what I mean? Like, so I knew it would definitely be some knowledge in there that we could learn. You know, learn from what we already have experienced and add to it. So, I mean, it was such an easy read, and so I mean, it flowed so naturally. You know what I mean? But I mean, knowing you, that's what I expected.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Being George, being that you read it, and somebody who hadn't read it, what would you tell them about reading it?
I'm gonna tell them like you as you read through this book, pause and take a moment to self-reflect. Like actually like don't just read through it to just get the information and push through. But like take some time and really like self-reflect, do a self-evaluation. Like, are you solid in this area? Do you need to grow? Do you need to get better? Like, is there more, like the certain sections of the book opens up more questions that you end up having for yourself about who you are. And then just like also being like open-minded to the possibility of like, who am I as a man? And it's like, what about me as a man would be attractive to a woman, you know?
Okay. What about what say you, Chris?
Man, I think that really the book really gets into the heart of building yourself, because you have to have a strategic playbook to help you build who you are in order to attract the quality kind of woman that you might want in your life. And you did such a good job of making the book so concise. is amazing how much you packed into a pocket-sized book, but it gives you a step-by-step basics to get you started on the journey and get you moving ahead.
Okay. Derek, which S, if you had to add one, which S would you add to the book?
So what Chris said, you know, honestly, that's what I was thinking when I read it. Ultimately, I'm like, man, Rod is teaching you how to be a better man. Like, that's what it comes down to, bettering yourself. So I think with the S I would add would be like all-encompassing. I would say like sustainability. So everything that you said, you know, some of those things you could show a woman on the front end, you know, I'm going to get this cologne and I'm going to do this. I haven't done it before. I'm going to smell better. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to dress myself up for a few days. But if you're not sustaining that, then, you know what I mean, that attraction is going to wear off. So what it initially got her is not going to keep her.
Okay. Now, you hear a lot of guys, and, well, you hear a lot of women, I should say, and women actually echo this all the time. They are always talking about emotional intelligence. When you hear emotional intelligence, Chris, what, I know this comes up.
Everybody got a story.
Everybody got something to say about that. It's like,
Well, guys, talk to me. When you hear emotional intelligence, what comes to mind?
I mean, so when it comes to emotional intelligence, that's how I defined it. And then it's like, I've also realized different people define emotional intelligence in different ways.
Okay.
So like when I think about it, I'm thinking about like, do I understand what I'm feeling and why I'm feeling it? And like, am I properly like communicating what I'm feeling so that it's received in a way to where I'm understood? But I didn't run across people with their own definitions of emotional intelligence. And it can definitely get tricky. Like when you really start getting down to it.
What about the term toxic? He was toxic. What comes to mind?
People like to throw that word out there. Man.
Yeah. Derek, what you think about that when you hear the word toxic?
I got a question. I got a question for you though, as far as the emotional intelligence, like what you said. So here's where it breaks down, in my opinion. If you're dealing with, and you tell me what you think, you the guy for this. You're dealing with a woman that's not emotionally intelligent, and you're trying to have this emotionally intelligent conversation. Right?
Yeah.
So you like, all right, I'm trying to, like you said, I'm trying to convey my point right now, but she's in left field. You know, so for me personally, I shut down. I'm like, you know what? I'm good. You got it. Because I'm like, it's not going anywhere.
Right.
I'm beating my head
right.
over a brick wall. So how do you feel you deal with that?
Really, that's a really good question as well. You know what? I think how you actually view that person, because how you view the person is how you're going to value, and how you value them is how you view them. Sometimes you don't have the bandwidth to actually deal with, I want to teach you.
Right.
Teaching only
That's
begins
facts.
when the student appears. So if the woman doesn't open and show herself to be open to say, hey, I want to learn from you, man, then I think you can kind of wasting your time, because some of them just cut off. And a lot of times you hear these women, man, they will sabotage. Well, men would do it too. Don't let me.
No, that's
men
true.
do it
That's
too
facts,
now.
that's facts.
But a lot of individuals, male or female, will sabotage a relationship. How have, Chris, when you've dealt with a woman, how has a woman self-sabotaged the relationship when it comes to you?
Oh, that word you just said earlier, Rod. Toxic.
Toxic.
Everything, it seems like everything a man does with that type of woman, when he's trying to lead and trying to say, no, we're moving in this direction. If we're moving together, gets labeled as toxic. And a man that's got his own program, got his own things going on, like, you don't have time for that. You don't have time to deal with that. Right. Like, I have to move on from you. And so when these women don't get in step and don't follow along, they can ruin a very good relationship by getting in their own feelings, in their own head, and in their own way. And what you don't do is label a good man as not good. You don't call a good man a bad man. He's not going to stand for it. That's one way I've been sabotaged in the past, definitely.
Right. George, you have a very different perspective.
I mean, I was about to hop on the same train as Chris when it came down to like toxic, because it's like I always view from my perspective, when I hear people using the word toxic, they're typically trying to deflect. Right, they're trying to avoid holding themselves accountable for like certain actions, certain things, for how they may have created the scenarios that led to the outcomes they didn't want. So it's like I'm always looking at it like that. Like, is it really toxic, or are you just trying to avoid accountability? You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, I'd probably say like one of the main things that I just kind of picked up on yesterday, because I'm always studying, trying to learn something. But it's like, people will use the word toxic for the fact as like to kind of hide the fact that they don't have the capacity to like deal with certain things. Like, say you don't have the skill set to like talk to somebody. Say you don't have the skill set to heal your partner. Say you don't have the skill set to like talk to the little boy or the little girl that's inside of your partner who needs to be calmed down and reassured, right? That doesn't make somebody toxic. It just means that you don't have the skill set to properly handle this person. Like, there are no perfect people, so you're going to end up dealing with something. Everybody's going to come with something. The real question: do you have the capacity, the skill set? I know for me, man, when I was younger, I didn't always have the language to communicate what I wanted to say. Like, it's like, I want to say like I'm hurt, but how do I say that and maintain my dignity? And like, I don't know if it necessarily made me toxic. It was just like, I don't know how to communicate this right now. Now that I'm older, I'm very comfortable communicating feelings, emotions, perspectives. I have a very solid foundation of core beliefs that I lean on that guide my moral compass. So it's like, I look back now and I'm just like, okay, like, when I see younger people using the word like toxic, I'm like, bro, it's not toxic. You need this skill set. You don't have this skill set. Get this skill set. You'll know how to manage that, and then like you'll be a better cultivator of your environment, right? You'll heal people. But that's just kind of how I look at it.
Derek, let me ask you this: you deal with women, you have dealt with women. How do you deal with women? Well, I'm not gonna say a little, a lot, but I'm just saying, I'm just gonna be joking. And y'all, I'm just teasing her
Nah,
because of our relationship.
you got some real eligible bachelors sitting
Yeah,
in the room
yeah.
right now in Dallas. Like,
But
seriously,
Derek,
man.
but when you do meet this woman of your choice, and how do you bring up sex to see if y'all even sexual compatible?
That's
That's a real
That's
thing.
a-
Yeah,
yeah.
better be compatible.
yeah,
Like, that's a real thing.
It's a real question. So typically with me, it may be after a few drinks,
Okay.
having that conversation. One thing that you taught me, honestly, that I didn't do, and it has helped on the front end, just being completely transparent. I may not have talked about it. I may have put myself in a situation to where we become sexual, and we may have become sexual too early, just being real, right? So now we're there. And now, it's a soul tied to this woman without having this conversation, not knowing if she's had some past traumas, from a relationship, and maybe she's tying it into, oh, this is all you wanted, whatever the case may be. It could be a few things, but not having that open conversation. But last year, we talked about it, and you were like, just learn. So I try to do that now on the front end, and I've only had a few situations since then, but I do have open conversation, and then I explain why. Because when you bring it up initially, like, how do you feel about sex? Is, you get that look like, damn, that's what we on right there. We sit there with coffee at 11:30.
That's our first date.
Like, this is it. That's what's up. It's like, wow, then go into deeper detail as to why you want to have an open conversation. Then the fence comes down a little bit. But I think the approach I've had in the past, as opposed to what I've done over the last year, this has been much more beneficial.
Okay.
And they have a deeper level of respect, whereas, jumping the gun too soon before.
Chris, how do you approach it?
Early and often.
Okay. Explain that.
Wait, sex or the conversation?
Oh,
Get that conversation out of there like early, man.
Early.
Absolutely.
Like, you don't put me in the friend zone. Like, right from the beginning what I came for.
Right.
Because in a romantic relationship, the one thing in a romantic relationship, if we're doing it in the very traditional sense, there's only one thing that you can get from that relationship that you can't get from any other relationship anywhere else, and that's sex. So why wouldn't we talk about that early? Why wouldn't we put that out there and up front? Now, I'm not going to pick you up right at the door and we start talking about sex. No, but, of course you have to have, a little tact about things. But I do think that you have to establish sexual energy early on in the relationship, or you run the risk of being that guy that's sitting there, 10 dates in, and now you in the friend zone. Can you go pick up my dry cleaning? like for real?
Babysit my dog.
Right.
Yeah. Or she telling you about the next day.
She's telling you about the next day.
I'm not going
She
with
has
this other
sex
guy.
with. You're like,
Yeah.
Like,
He
how did I
taking
get
me
here?
out.
You're like, how did I get here? Like,
Have
being
you
too
always been
nice.
that way? Have you always been that way though? Like early and often, or
Oh,
did something
yes.
happen
Yeah,
to you to
yeah.
where you were like,
Always.
damn, okay. All right.
Always try to get in there early and often.
Yeah.
Because I kind of have to, because I have all of my own insecurities that I deal with.
Okay.
So a
We all
woman,
do.
pretty much like a woman that has an interest in me, and I am not actively like after her.
Right.
She pretty much has to hit me over the head with the pussy before.
Hey.
Like, I've been so oblivious. But like now, if I'm after a woman, like I'm after, like, you gonna know it. Like,
I got you. I got
but
you. Yeah.
Nah, I definitely had to find that thin line. I know where you coming from, honestly. Like, where it's like you trying to be such a good guy that you done talked yourself out of the box. And it's like, then it's like I've been on the other side where it's like you moving so quick to where it's like you don't know like who you really dealing with until like you done messed around, y'all done messed around and had, y'all done messed around, and now she's she's growing like attachments that you're not growing. You know, she's having attachments to you that you like, hold on, man, like I'm still trying to figure you out. We 3 weeks in, we 6 weeks in, we eight weeks in, like I'm still trying to feel you out. And she's like, nah, bro, I already gave myself to you. Like,
Yeah.
And it's like, especially like you get to a certain space where it's like you create a certain level of stability for yourself. Women become very sure about you while you still trying to figure them out. And it's like they're really looking at you like, oh, like he's the one. Like I seen him in these circles, or I see him over here at the Dallas Black Chamber of Commerce. And why do all of these successful men in Dallas know him, but he's so low key? Like they start really trying to do their homework and search for you and find out about you. And it's like, sweetie, I'm genuinely like taking my time trying to feel you out. You know, like
No, that's good.
But that's a good policy, though.
Yeah.
Like I always say, you should be slow to hire and quick to fire. You gone,
Absolutely.
get out. Like,
absolutely.
With that being said, the fire, that can be a very painful experience. Derek, when did you first experience emotional pain? At what age or stage?
That's a
Okay.
deep one. That's a deep one.
So this is a bigger circle than just a relationship.
Right.
I would say honestly, emotional pain came from my relationship with my mother.
Okay.
I knew
Growing
it was coming. Me too.
Yeah, that
Me too.
would be, you know, as a kid, being a boy, learning how to deal with that. So you develop these safeguards, you know, to protect your heart, because you're like, man, I don't want to hurt that way, right? Like, so when you go through it long enough, it's certain things that you have to really truly unravel, you know, that you don't even realize how deep the depths of it, you know what I mean? Because you just learned to operate this way now, right? So it's like I'm never even letting you get this close to me to where you can hurt me the way I was hurt when I was 9 or 10, because I remember, you know, this situation happening. So I'm gonna keep full control, and in doing so, you know, when you do that as a man, a woman she'll eventually feel it, and she'll know that, man, it's something that I'm not getting the full him, and so you will never get that deeper level of understanding, that trust that you need to have, you know, that longevity in a relationship. But it's like, man, you got to unwire yourself, and that takes a hell of a lot of work.
When we come back from the Gentleman's Playbook, I do want to pick back up on that point of emotional pain. And I think that's a very key point. We'll be right back with the Gentleman's Playbook. I'm your host, Rod Warner.
Stop guessing what women want. The secret is out. Rod Warner's The 7 S's provides a clear, step-by-step blueprint for dating success. Learn how to develop authentic charisma, spark attraction, and never face rejection again. This is the ultimate guide for the modern man. Find it at rodwarnerbooks.com.
Welcome back to the Gentleman's Playbook. I'm your host, Rod Warner. In our last segment, we talked about emotional pain. And George, when did you meet emotional pain?
Yeah, like that question goes all the way back to like just early childhood. So it's like probably around that age of like 9, 10, 8, 9, 10, around the time when my parents got divorced. And it's like you start to go through that whole process of like trying to find your identity. Your dad's no longer in the house. I'm an only child, so it was just me and my mom. And then I'm learning to understand that, like, you know, there were certain things my mother just didn't have the emotional capacity to deal with. And it was like the first time she probably shut me out and didn't listen to me, didn't hear me, and just kind of like brushed me off, was like it created a wound there that it was like, man, like where I felt like, okay, like what's the point of communicating if women don't listen? And then it was just like from there, it was just like the journey of having to get to that place of maturing to understand like she didn't have the capacity to understand like what type of woman was good for me. You know, like I love a nurturer. I love somebody who does know how to use words of affirmation as their strong suit. Like that's Like we vibe, you know, like we know how to talk back and forth to each other and keep each other encouraged and lifted. But yeah, that original pain, and then like, man, and I hate to say it, bro, it probably took until I was in my mid-20s. So like from the time I was 10 to the time I was 25, almost 15 years of dating little girls to grown women in college to grown women in my professional career, and not being able to make that connection. And then like once you're able to make that connection, there's still work to be done on solving that pain. It's like, now I know I'm hurt, but what do I do about the pain?
You know what? I think that's first of all, thank you guys for sharing. I think a lot of times how you was raised affect, you know, you grow through that as a child and you act it out as you become an adult. And when you meet pain and the person who's supposed to guide and nurture you, when that is lost, man, you start building a wall. Mm-hmm. And that wall can be very, very detrimental. And it happens even with females a lot of times. They end up building this wall when they don't connect with their father. Or they use terms like you controlling, or you trying to tell me what to do, or whatever. And a lot of times women are taught that men have feelings, and we do have feelings. And when you reject us at times, it triggers, especially if you had some type of emotional trauma with your mom, the person who's supposed to nurture you and protect you. And like you said earlier, George, give you words of affirmation. Words matters. And when sometimes you get into a disagreement with a woman, some women, they will hit you below the belt and say some detrimental thing to you. And man, you can't come back from that. And I even mentioned it one of the things in the book. But words do matter. And a lot of times growing up, speak to your kids. Talk to your kids. Spend time with your kids. Kids do not spell love Love. Kids spell love Time. Whatever you put your time in, you invest in, you love it, and you give it. Well, I want to thank Mr. George Lewis, Chris McKnight, Derek Fleming for actually taking out the time to come be a part of the Gentleman, the Playbook, and also reading and understanding and breaking down the 7 S's. And I thank you guys for sharing y'all very vulnerable moments of being genuine. And I appreciate you guys taking out the time. Guys, thank you for tuning in to the Gentleman's Playbook. I'm your host, Rod Warner, and I'll see you next time.